Okay, so you missed the lesson, and so you need to, where I did the example of how to keep a set area. So we're going to keep the area the same for all these pictures, and I'm just going to pick an area of, let's say, 30 units squared. The squares are an area unit. And I'm going to be changing the perimeter. And the perimeter we know for a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So we've got that going for us. So we want to draw as many rectangles as we can. We don't want to do rectangles with half edges and longer. So we want to do that, but we want to use, I want to use lengths and widths that are whole numbers, so it's easy to draw on here. So the easiest thing to do is to pick a width and then solve backwards to get the length, or pick a length and solve backwards to get the width. So what I'm going to do is start with the area. So the area on the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to choose an area. Well, let me go back here. We know the area is 30, but we also know the area formula is length times width. So let's choose a width of 1. And when I put it back in the formula, you get 30 equals L times 1. Well, in order for that to happen, you can divide by 1 if you want, but really you're going to get a length of 30. So what I need to do is draw a rectangle that has a width of 1 and a length of 30. So I'm going to do that right now. So we're going to need, so I'm going to go, okay, here's my length. I'm going to change colors here. There's 5, 6, sorry, that's 15 right there, 20, 5, 30. Now if your graph paper isn't long enough, just pretend it's 30. There's your width of 1. There's my rectangle. Really long and narrow. Okay, so the length is 30. And the width is 1. I can't really draw the arrow, so I'm just going to put width of 1 there. So we already know the area is 30. So I'll go back to my blue color. I'm going to say the area equals 30. But what does the perimeter equal? So I'm going to do that up. I'm going to do that up in this area here, where the yellow box is. I'm going to do the perimeter is 30. I mean the perimeter on that here. So the perimeter, some of you already know the answer. You can do it in your head, but if not, you can just get a scrap piece of paper and go 2 times 30 plus 2 times 1, because that's the width. 2 times the length, 2 times the width. That's going to be 60 plus 2. So my perimeter is 62. That's what I'm going to write in here. P equals 62. Okay, now so I've got one pair. When the width over here on the left is 1, the length is 30. That's one pair. Okay, I need another pair so I'm going to choose a different width. I'm going to say, what if I choose a width? What if I choose a width equal to 2? Well, then what's my length for it? Well, we know the area is 30 still. Length times 2 is the width. So if I divide by 2, I get a length equals 15. So if you draw it, it's going to look something like this. Width is 2, and then so it's W equals 2, and the length is going to be, I'm doing groups of 5, so that, whoops, that's a poorly drawn one. So 1, 2, 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, and so we know that the area is still 30, but what's the perimeter? That's what I don't know. So let's do that work over here. So I'm going to do that work right here. P equals 2 times the length. The length was, we said 15, plus 2 times the width, which is 2. So we're going to get plus 4 on the end. We're going to get 30 here. And we see the perimeter is smaller. It's 34. Okay, so I need to keep those things. I'll underline them in green. I'm going to need that information for later. So I need that and that later. And so I have them circled. I'll just circle them actually. Circle them there. And that was when I had a width of 2 and a length of 15. So we can keep that process going. So most people say, well, I'll try 3. Okay, 3 is the next logical width to choose. And if you haven't figured out already, all we're really doing is taking the area, 30, and dividing it by the width to get the length. So in this case, 30 divided by 2 equal, well, we did 2, we're doing 3 now, equals 10. And so I'm going to, if I draw that again, I'm going to have a width of 3. I'm going to go 10 over here. Okay, so then my length equals 10, and my area is, well, brown color. My area is still 30, but now my perimeter is 2 times 10. P equals 2 times 10 plus 2 times 3, and I'm going to get P equals 26. Okay, so I'll circle those things in green because I'm going to need those later. So I need that, 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 and that. I really don't need the area because it's the same. Okay, so you get the pattern there. We'll continue on. We'll finish this off here. I'm going to switch screens here. So I'm going to go to another screen. You'll probably have enough room on a piece of graph paper. So I'm just going to switch screens. And I'll erase all this. Okay, so now we're going to go, if I choose a width of, 4 doesn't divide nicely into 30. So if I tried it, area, whoops, made the mistake here. If I take the length and take 30 divided by 4, I get 7.5. I get 7.5. I don't want to draw 7.5 squares, so I'm not going to use this one right here. I'm going to use whole number one. So I'm going to go again, length equals, since we're always using the same area in this particular one, and I'm going to divide it by, let's try W equal 5. And when I do that, I get a length equal to 6. So there's the ones I want to do. I want to draw that one. So I'm going to go width of 5, that's right here, and length of 6, one more than that. So I get width is 5, length is 6, area equals 30, and then the perimeter is going to be 2 times 6 plus 2 times 5. So I get a perimeter of 12 plus 10. Perimeter is 22, and that's our lowest perimeter so far. So it's definitely doing what Mr. Lebel wants, which is getting the smallest perimeter possible by choosing length and width. And the last one to do, if you haven't figured, well, I say the last one because we're going to start to repeat the pattern, is I'm going to do a reverse length and width. So I'm going to have width now. You could plug it in the formula, but I could have a width of 6. There's 6 for my width. And here's my length of 5. And it just looks like it's the same as this one right here, except it's switched, the length and the width. So if I do my perimeter, if you haven't figured out already, it's going to give you the same answer as the one above. That's why I'm saying it's repeating. It's the same answer, perimeter equals 22, when I switch the length and the width, which is no big surprise. Oh, I forgot to write down the area is still 30 in all those. So what I want to do now is I've given you a table on your paper. Now, you won't do this one, this example on your paper, but this is what you would do with it if it was on your paper. In purple, I'll do the table here. So we've got our length. I'm going to do another piece of paper here. So I'm just going to go to another screen here. So we've got our length, we've got our widths, and we've got our perimeters. Okay, that's what that piece of paper has. Okay, and so, so what was the first length we did? Well, I don't remember, so I'm going to go back here and see what I circled. Okay, I had length of 30, width of 1, perimeter of 62. So let's go ahead and write that down. Length of 30, width of 1, perimeter of 62. Okay, we'll go back. The next one was a width of 2. We said a length of 15 was supposed to be put right there. And then we had a perimeter of 34. 2, 15, 34. Now, why am I not writing areas? Because they're all the same, and that's not. There's no pattern to that. Okay, so now we go back. I think the next one was 3. We'll make sure. The next one was 3 for the width, and then we had a length of 10 and a perimeter of 26. Okay, and then we tried 4. We tried 4, but I crossed it off because it wasn't a nice. So we had 5, 6, and 22. So we had 5, 6, 22, and then we had 6, 5, and 22. And I said to stop here because you can see the pattern. You can see that we're starting to repeat. So you could do more, but the next one would be 10 and 3, and you're going to get 26. And so we don't need to go there. We know it's going to repeat. So I can see that I'm starting to get down here. Once the perimeters start repeating, I can stop. So stop when the perimeters repeat. And I'm purposely not doing the questions because I want you to use this information here, but you'll do it for a different shape on your paper, or not different shape, a different area. On your paper, you're going to do it for an area of 36, and when it starts to, remember, when the perimeters start to repeat, that's when you stop and you look at your data. It's going to ask you to put the lengths into L1, and there's instructions on how to use the calculator to do that on your sheet, and it's going to ask you to put the perimeters into L2, and you won't actually use this column. Okay, and you'll see what the picture does, and you'll see a graph that either goes like this when you do the 36 one, or some people had it going like this. Some people had the graph like that. Some people had it going like this. And you'll have some points here and here and here and here and here. You'll have some points. If you do it this way, you have points here and here and here and here and here. And so you can see where your smallest perimeter is, and you'll get a special shape out of that. Okay, so that's basically the first part of the project.